Mick from Subaru Tours.
Yep.
You're the guy that's putting all this event on?
I sure am, yep.
Now this is a yearly event you have down here?
At the moment, yeah, this is the second year running, and with its success today, I'm pretty sure it'll probably happen again next year.
Yeah, now it's the all Japanese, so it's all Japanese bikes here?
Just all Japanese motorcycles, yeah. That's what the theme of the show is. We think there's a very big interest in Japanese motorbikes, but not enough shows to dedicate for these nice looking bikes, so we thought we'd put one on ourselves.
There is some amazing bikes here. You have managed to pull some in from...
Yeah. We made some people, clean some sheds out and bring them out for display. And yeah, what more can I say?
Do you hold any other events, or is this just...
No, this is the only one we do at the moment. Yeah, so maybe in the future we might be able to do something else.
And you managed to get Whiteman Park there.
Whiteman Park, yep. They're all, everyone's pretty happy. And it's a nice central location. And now
everybody coming in today, they're voting on their favourite bike? Voting
on the favourite bikes. We've got about, I think, eight or nine classes. So 9 classes of different styles of motorbikes to vote for. And there's some nice prizes that people have donated.
That's fantastic. Well, Mick, good luck, and we may see you again next year with even more bikes.
Thanks a lot, Keith.
Thanks a lot, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
Tell us a little bit about your ZX6 that you've got here, Michael.
Okay. As you say, ZX6, but it's actually a 636R, which they produced for limited edition for the street.
Yep.
They wanted extra torque. It's reasonably standard, slightly different bodywork. Engine's been tuned up with Power Commander, a bit of a tool, so it puts out 122 horsepower at the moment. Runs 10 nines, and 215 at the strip.
That's pretty good for a 600 class. That's very good. Yep.
And of course, the obvious difference to most of them is the paint job.
The paint is spectacular. I can see a bit of pinstriping, and what else has gone into it? It's
okay. Well, it's. I was going to do it airbrushing, but how many more skulls do you want to see airbrushing a bike? So, I'm a bit of a fan of the 60s.
Yep.
But it's a modern bike, so I tried to incorporate both of them. So, basically, have like a blade design with the old hot rod pinstriping. So the paint was done by Steve's Paint Studios out in Malaga, and a guy called Tony Von Custard, who does all the hot rods, the 60s, did the pinstriping. And everything you see on the paint job is freehand, it's all done by hand. It took approximately all up about 8 months to do the paint job, mainly because the wheels, the engine covers, is actually ceramic coating.
Right.
Not paint. So that had to come from the States, and until that was actually finished, I couldn't match that to the Tangerine, so we had to match that to the ceramic coating. And then it took about 4 months to do the paint job.
So you had to go to the States to get that done?
It's done here, but they had to get the... it's done out at CIC out in... Kelmscott.
Kelmscott,
yep. But they had to get the colour batch from the States, and it took a bit of time. And it's a quite involved process, and in fact, that's the only set of wheels they've ever done, and that's the last set of wheels they're ever going to do. It's just too time-consuming to... Everything that's on this, which is the wheels, the engine covers, the foot pegs, the triple tree, everything has to be done in one go.
Yep.
Even if you use the same tin the next day, it'll come out a different shade. So anything you want on the bike to be that colour has to be done in one hit.
So it was a long day for the guys at...
It is, yep. So, and the prep, like anything, same as the paint, preparation, it's all in the preparation.
Yep.
Same as the paint, we had to strip it all down, take all the stickers off, and you've got to get it, so... And then there's layer upon layer upon layer of paint on there and clear to get this smooth. And then normally with the pinstriping, what they do with those, once you've finished, cleared it, normally the pinstriping goes over the top.
Yep.
But I wanted this under the clear. So this is the first time Tony's actually done that. So that's actually under, there's clear all over the top of that pinstriping, which means it's not going to get chipped and go off. So people are a bit sus about the colour combination, but in the end, I think 99% of people think it looks pretty good. So.
And you're happy with it as well, obviously?
Yeah, it probably actually came, because it is still my street bike. So
it is a road bike then? You're using it every day on the road?
I rode it here, so yeah, no problems.
So it's not one of these trailer ponies?
No, I've got there's 11,000 Ks on the clock.
Great, well thanks very much, Michael. We'll look forward to seeing more of the bike around at future shows.
Yeah, there's a couple of little bits and pieces I'll do on it, and then I'll start another project.
Eddie, tell us about this little beauty here.
Yeah, it's a roughly mid-70s Eyewear Honda, which they brought in from the States. You could bring the frame, oil tank, fuel tank, and you'd stand at 750 Honda, you could build a chopper in a weekend.
Fantastic.
That was the setup. Use your instruments, your switch blocks, your wheels, and you had this instant chopper. But this one I picked up in Kalgoorlie about just over three and a half years ago. But I wanted it to look more modern. I still like the old style engine, but I wanted the modern technology and styling, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was ideal because what I virtually bought was just a frame and a couple of wheels and an engine. So everything on the bike is been handmade. I mean, the tank was made by Les Rowe and Sons. It was all custom made. Front end, the rear, guard, and when you start getting into this is all Harley Davidson of all things, but with all the electronic dashboard, had to be all wired into the system with the electronic pickup on the wheel. But this is the style I wanted, the new look, but with the old top engine. You know.
Amazing. Now, I have heard you're also going to put a Harley front end on it.
Yep.
That's going to come later on, is it?
That'll be in the next few months. Yeah. We've been negotiating in America, but the trouble is, in America everybody's gone wide boy. All the front ends have gone
fat
boy.
Yep.
The fat boy it's just too wide. So we've found a site where we can get narrow, like a narrow glide. So that'll be with another 3-degree rake. And that'll set the front off anyway. And
another 3 degrees.
Stretch it just a little bit. She's a little bit short in the front, mainly because it is actually probably still legal with the 3 degrees, because when you take a line from your centre, your triple tree, like a plumb bob, measure from there to your front axle's got to be 550 mil. Any longer than that,
illegal.
You're too long.
Having a chat with Steve, who's from the UK.
Yep.
And you've got this fantastic. What is it? I've got no idea what this is.
It's a motorcycle.
It is. That's about all I know. That's about all I can see.
It's a Spondon-framed GSX 1100, basically, from back in the late 80s.
Okay.
Yep. So I built it about, must have been about 19 years ago now, back in 1991. It was the first of its kind at Spondon, the first aluminium tubular-framed bikes. They used to build steel frames up to then, and I used to have one of them as well, but I crashed that a couple of times. That's why I ended up one of these things.
Yep.
Dangerous things, motorcycles, don't get one. Right, go on. What else do you need to know?
Single-sided swing arm?
Yeah.
Part of the frame package, or is that?
Yeah, it is, yeah. The swinging arm is Spondon as well. It uses an RC30 stub axle. Aftermarket wheels, these Marcasinis.
Yep.
Yep, turbocharged. It's 1500cc. It's got a big block on there, so it produces about 250 horsepower at the rear wheel, which is quite quick. For its day, in the early 90s, it produced more brake horsepower per tonne than an F1 car at the time, so it's quite a quick thing.
It's phenomenal. And so you've had it for 19 years?
Yeah, built it 19 years ago, yeah. Yep.
And what sort of work do you drag strips, rides?
Well, the bike was born out of a drag series we had in the UK back in the 80s called the Ultimate Street Bike. The engine used to be in a different chassis then, obviously a drag chassis, but it was developed on the drag strip. That's why it produces good horsepower, good torque. But the series at the time, it was a street bike series, so I wanted to keep the bike as a street bike. So it basically started the Street Fighter series, which is big engines in chassis that handled and braked, and so luckily we've got a decent Street Fighter series over here, the Australian Street Fighters. And I'm just proud to bring the bike down here today and show it off as part of that club.
They do have a great representation and a great following.
Yep.
I understand you've built another bike that was involved in breaking some world records.
Yeah, the bike previous to this was still a Spondon framed, but it was a steel framed bike, the same engine actually. And back in 1989 it broke the world record for the fastest wheelie, 150 miles an hour. So
that's
240k.
40k.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Right.
That's another reason I got one of these things. So back in the day, it was quite a well-known bike. In fact, this was quite a well-known bike because we built it in conjunction with Performance Bikes magazine. Yep. It was a feature bike. We built it every month for a 6-month period, and it was a real popular bike in the UK.
It's great to have it here in WA.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to bring it and show it off.
Fantastic. Please sponsor us, Steve.
No problem at all.
We'll have more of the All Japanese Bike Show next week. Now Evie with some info on some great eyewear from Ugly Fish Sunglasses.
As part of your face protection, eyewear is something to definitely consider, whether it's an open face helmet or if it's, some people still like to wear glasses if they've got their visors on, if they've got a clear visor. Ugly Fish do a fantastic range of sunglasses. The crew wear them, and one of the main reasons that the crew wear them is they have a little gasket in there, don't they? They're specifically made for riding, and Dom's is going to show us what they've got in them.
Yeah, well basically they look like a normal sunny.
Yep.
But then they've got this little foam gasket here which helps seal up around your eyes. So if you're wearing an open face helmet, that helps get rid of a lot of the wind that can go into your eyes and make your eyes water.
Right, right. And they're also really good for people who've got prescription glasses. They wear prescription glasses most times.
Yeah, that's right. The other nice little feature is you can actually get this gasket here. If you take this down to your optometrist, they'll put a prescription lens in there specifically for you.
Yeah.
And you can take this gasket out. And whack that in there.
It's in nice and snug.
Yep.
Very nice.
And then you can put the whole unit straight back into your sunglasses.
Right.
And you've got your prescription lens ready to go again.
Lovely. Ugly Fish. Something to consider, particularly if you've got script glasses or you do a lot of riding with your sunglasses on.
On Two Wheels is brought to you by the following sponsors.